What's up, watchers? Will here with another Godzilla Kong video, and I think we'll take a brief break from the theories today and have ourselves a good old versus match. Today, we're pitting two of Godzilla's most infamous enemies up against one another. The Holy Guardian Beast, King Ghidorah, versus the living oxygen weapon, Destoroyah. Now, considering that Destoroyah is a Millennium-era monster, I'm going to use a Millennium-era Ghidorah as his opponent, since we have quite a few options. So, let's start with physical stats. Destoroyah is an oxygen destroyer mutated prehistoric crustacean. In his perfect form, he stands at 120 meters tall and 230 meters in length. His wingspan is 200 meters tip to tip, and he weighs 80,000 metric tons. The Millennium-era King Ghidorah is 50 meters tall, has a recorded 93-meter wingspan, and weighs 25,000 metric tons, making him significantly smaller. Now, let's look at the personalities. Destoroyah very much matches his devilish appearance, being ruthless and vile, as well as being quite cunning, something he shares with a handful of other Godzilla villains. He is seemingly fully aware of the death and destruction that he leaves in his wake, visibly in how cruel he acts towards Godzilla Jr., and killing him before he could reunite with his father. He's one of two villains to ever fight Godzilla on both an emotional and a physical level, the other being Space Godzilla, who has used a similar tactic in attacking Godzilla Jr. His main strategy being to inflict as much pain as possible on any level, and this seems to be a constant across all of his appearances outside of his solo film. King Ghidorah, personality-wise, is sometimes difficult to narrow down, as a lot of his appearances he is subjected to mind control by aliens, but he does have a history of being evil. However, because we are working with the Millennium King Ghidorah, that is one of the rare times where he actually isn't evil. He's actually the benevolent protector of Japan who works with Mothra to prevent Godzilla from destroying everything. So, kind of a role reversal here. Lastly, let's talk about abilities and weaknesses. Destoroyah has a host of crazy abilities like his division and recombination due to his nature as a composite life form. The ridiculous amount of microscopic organisms that make up his form allow him to separate from his perfect form into some of his lesser forms in order to overwhelm his foe with an onslaught of attacks. He has an immense amount of durability, being able to survive multiple hits from the red spiral ray. However, that does not mean he's invincible, as he did end up vomiting a lot of blood from the attack. But him surviving the fight in the first place with an overheated Godzilla in itself is a feat alone. He is immensely strong, being able to lift Godzilla Jr. up in the air with ease, and being able to drag Godzilla by his neck using only his tail. The primary range weapon that Destoroyah uses is the Oxygen Destroyer Beam, which can penetrate inorganic metal and disintegrate organic material. In his perfect form, it can physically harm Godzilla. It killed Jr. along with the drop in the Coliseum, and it can level city blocks with ease. He can drain energy through his tail, as he used it on the adult Godzilla, and according to a bio page in a tie-in book, he can actually absorb DNA of those he dissolves with the micro-oxygen ray. The perfect form can utilize the Horn Katana, which is the result of an energy surge coursing through the horn atop his head, and is powerful enough to cut through Godzilla's dense flesh. With all of these strengths, does he have any weaknesses? Well, extreme temperatures can destroy the micro-oxygen cells in Destoroyah's body. The red spiral ray, though not killing him, did harm him to a lesser extent. The giant floral pattern on his chest also appears to be a sort of weak spot. Also, unless he splits off beforehand when he's in a fused together form, all the organisms in that form can die in it. So, in order to survive, he can split off into other forms, but if he is killed while fused together, all those forms die as well. He is also susceptible to not just extreme heat, but also extreme cold, which can stop him from separating, a method employed by the ULT lasers that froze him on a microscopic level. As a contender here, King Ghidorah has the following. He has a fair amount of durability, being able to survive being knocked out by Godzilla, as well as multiple blasts of the atomic breath. He starts with a powerful electric bite, but more on that in a second. Now, this specific Ghidorah is surprisingly not as menacing as the other incarnations that depict him as the demon of the galaxy, and due to this I am actually including his 1,000-year-old dragon form here, which was achieved when he was revived by Mothra's energy flowing into him. Hopefully this will be the only time we need a character to have an assist in this series, just to try and level the playing field a little bit. So as the 1,000-year dragon, the electric bite becomes his trademark gravity beams. He gains the ability of flight and can create an energy shield that can not only deflect blasts like Godzilla's breath, but can be crashed into the ground to create a massive explosion. The weaknesses here for this Ghidorah are that he is easily overpowered in close combat due to being pretty small and weak and also not having any arms. His skin also is particularly weak to even Godzilla's bite, and actually gets killed when his gravity beams are absorbed and fired back at him as a fusion of the beams and the atomic breath. So, I think we can all kind of easily tell who the winner here would be. It clearly goes to Destoroyah. Now, in drafting this, I figured it would be appropriate to pit two monsters who were in the same film period, but it appears that this rendition of Ghidorah is a punk, and he does not deserve any of his titles of god or guardian, let alone a king. The only way I could possibly see him surviving this battle is if he somehow managed to follow his roots and become the legendary Yamata no Orochi, but that's another fight for another day. Now, if you like this fight and want to see more, or think that Ghidorah could manage to pull a W out of this, let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're there, drop a like and subscribe to Hybrid Network. I'm Will, and I'll see you next time.